Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 20th anniversary of the International CTI Symposium Electrified and Intelligent Drivetrains. It's a big pleasure for me to be able to be here today with you together face to face and welcome so many participants from the international family of transmissions and drive systems. Today, I would like to give you an overview about the topics of the last 20 years of our symposium. In this period, the CTI Symposium has been a companion of transmission and drive system development. In the year of 2002, the symposium was launched as a conference for innovative automotive transmissions. The main topics were recent developments of transmission concepts like MT, AMT, DCT, AT, and of course CVTs and their components, as well as all-wheel driven vehicles and their drivetrains, lubrications, transmission management and development tools. In this very first symposium, we welcomed, among other experts, Monsieur Lepelletier, who presented the legendary planetary gear set named after him. At that time, Dr. Paul was the Executive Vice President of ZF, responsible for development and research, and also Mr. Kojima, who was the President of JATCO. At that time, 300 international guests participated in the CTI Symposium with 31 presentations and a few sponsors and exhibitors. Since then, we have welcomed more than 19,000 international participants at the CTI Symposia only in Germany. More than 1,500 presentations were given and more than 1,500 exhibitors were part of the accompanying exhibition. All those contributions came from over 450 different OEMs, suppliers, engineering service providers, universities and research centers and institutes. Similar to the number of presentations and companies, the advisory board grew over the years, and today 50 international high-level experts from the industry and universities are members of our advisory board. Ladies and gentlemen, in the year 2002, the CTI Symposium program was all about automotive transmissions. This slide shows the share of presentation topics regarding different transmission concepts over the past 20 years. They changed from not electrified to electrified ones. In the years 2009 to 2011, there was a hype around the topic of electric drives. Many of you will remember on this time period. After that, subsequently, they were developed evolutionarily. And in recent years, electrification has received a boost from the increase in the energy density of batteries and reduction of their prices, but also from the reduction in CO2 emission limits, and last but not least, from the Dieselgate topics in 2015. Since then, the topics on electrified drives, including DHT and add-on transmission and drive concepts, have dominated the program of our symposium, and they are also a main part of this year's symposium. Many of you will remember the symposium in 2015. At that time, we had introduced the designation DHT and DHP. For this purpose, our long-standing member of the advisory board, Professor Dr. Robert Fischer, defined the term DHT as a transmission concept that has its complete functionality only with the help at least one integrated electric motor. The term DHT was accepted globally and has since become a standard in the world of transmissions and drive systems. As you will have noticed from this year's program, we will welcome Professor Dr. Robert Fischer again for his plenary speech. He will give us an overview of the innovations of transmissions and drive development over the last 20 years that have been presented in our symposium. As mentioned before, in 2002, the shares of topics regarding the drive systems were mainly related to non-electrified drives. Today, there is almost no topic which is not related to the electrification. After modification of the title and logo of our symposium, the current title was introduced in the year 2018. With this new title centered around emission-free mobility, we also consider the upcoming influences of digitalization and automated driving, which will continue to shape the automotive industry within the next decades. In particular, the question of zero-emission mobility is not only a question of the drive concept, but also a question of the energy carrier. To avoid CO2 emissions, many governments, mostly in the European Union, have already announced the end to the ICE between 2025 and 2050. Even if specific measures and solutions are unfortunately not fixed yet. At the World Climate Change Conference in Glasgow around 3 weeks ago, the target of zero-emission mobility was accepted and signed by 38 nations and 11 OEMs. However, the timetable is not clear for many of them. The base for zero-emission mobility is resulting among others, especially from green electricity, infrastructure, and recycling in the sense of cradle to grave. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing is certain. The high powertrain diversity we have today must and will be consolidated if only two energy carriers, namely hydrogen and electricity, are considered for FCEV and BEV. However, in the long term, HEV and PHEV also can be an alternative with synthetic fuels. But at the moment, e-fuel price is factor 10 far away from a competitive market target price. In this context, some questions come up. What is the lifetime of PHEV in the transformation process towards BEV? Or the question of CO2 avoidance as a driver of technological innovations. Regarding to these questions, we will have expert discussions today and tomorrow, chaired again by our well-known moderator, Mr. Ulrich Walter. This year, we are unfortunately required to limit the number of participants to 500 and the exhibitors to 45. Nevertheless, we have again an extensive program consisting of 54 session presentations in 6 parallel sessions each day and 9 keynote presentations, for which we are really very happy to welcome well-known experts from industry, associations and universities. Extensive preparations were made by the teams of the CTI and the Automotive Engineering Institute to set up an interesting symposium. I would like to mention especially the ladies and gentlemen of the advisory board, being always the backbone of our conference. But also I would like to mention the speakers with their attractive contributions. We would like to express our sincere thanks to all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, we have very good conditions within the next 2 days for discussions and information exchange, and I am especially looking forward to the next 2 days. Thank you very much for your attention, and I herewith declare the 20th anniversary of the International CTI Symposium open. Thank you very much.